What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how you can be a shifty wide receiver. So we're going to be talking about how you can make people miss, make defenders miss off the line at the top of the route, and make quicker cuts. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it can teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you guys would like a daily training schedule to follow in the gym and on the field with all the things that wide receivers need to be doing, check out that very first link in the description below for our ultimate 8-week wide receiver gym and field combo workout plan. It's a 2-month daily schedule with the exact sets, reps to do for each exercise, and an example for each one. So very first link below if you're interested, fellas. Let's get started with this video. So now we're going to be looking at this rider from Kadarius Toney, arguably probably one of the shiftiest wide receivers in the game. He's going to be running something called a return route. Some people call it a T route. It's not so much a whip route. It's like the opposite of a whip route. So let's play this thing full speed. So he comes off here, he goes to the outside, puts the brakes on, and then is able to get separation on that return. So a whip route, obviously for those of you that don't know, would be like he would break inside on the slant and whip back out. A return route is pretty much, and that's just my lingo. I'm sure a lot of people have different lingos and different ways to tell this route, I guess you could say. But a return route is where you go out, then back to the middle. So now, this very easily could be an option route. Very easily could be like a choice route to where he's reading the DB's leverage. DB's outside shade, okay, he works back to the inside. DB's inside shade, maybe he works back to the outside. I think it's unlikely because of the formation, but still, you could treat this the exact same way. So now, to make a quicker cut, to be a shiftier wide receiver, to make this guy miss, the first thing you need to have is sudden feet. So what do I mean by sudden feet? So when you're coming up to the route, at the top of the route, off the line, you need to have like some explosion with the cuts that you are making. You can't be like soft with your feet. It's not like a soccer player. You know, no offense to anybody that's watching this that plays soccer, but the way soccer players cut is a lot different than the way football players cut, right? Because soccer, you're running. They're crazy athletes. They are running for hours at a time, right? So they're not going to have the explosion that a wide receiver might have with his cuts because that's an all-out effort movement. And soccer players can't cut like that for an hour long and then go pretty much run miles upon miles, however long the game is. So it's not so much like a short, quick shuffle with your feet. It's an explosive step. You're pretty much slamming your feet into the grass. Because when you slam your feet into the grass, that creates energy. And that suddenness, the quickness of the step, forces a reaction out of the DB. But the suddenness also creates energy, like I said, to explode you out of the break and not only get you separation, but help you keep separation by accelerating. So fellas, on any cut, whether you're running just like a simple post route, whether you're running an out route, that break point, that single cut that you make, a rocker step, a crossover move, the feet have to be sudden. How quick can you shoot those feet into the grass? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, if I shoot my feet into the grass, coach, wouldn't that make it more likely for me to hurt myself, right? I step hard into the grass. Wouldn't that put a lot of pressure on my Achilles, on my knee? And you're 100% correct. It definitely would put pressure there if you have incorrect form. So what a lot of guys will do is that they try to have this real super sudden cut, but they'll reach outside their frame. So like you see how Toney, when he makes this cut right here, it's inside of his shoulder frame. He's not reaching way out because when you guys reach, you strike the ground. And by reaching, I mean pretty much just stepping really far. When you step really far, chances are you're striking the ground on your heel first. So when you strike the ground on your heel, that can cause your leg to hyperextend. That's what puts the pressure on the ankle, the knee, the Achilles, and that's where injuries can happen. But if you keep your feet inside of your frame like Toney does, maybe if you have to drop your hips a little bit, you drop low. But when you keep your feet inside your frame and you're sudden and you're shooting them into the grass, that is what creates explosion to get you out. It's about foot strike. We should be striking the ground on that middle arch ball of my foot, not my heel, and not reaching to over-exaggerate. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Kadarius Toney selling this return route and then creating separation. Okay, so now, next thing that you have to do to be a shifty wide receiver to make people miss is understand that you make people miss. Yes, you need to have sudden feet. Yes, the suddenness of your feet forces a reaction out of the DB. But when it is man coverage, you make guys miss with your upper half. That's what so many wide receivers do not understand. So let's play this example here, full speed from Kadarius Toney. Obviously, a very, very explosive step off the line, gets the DB to bite. But when it's man coverage, do you think a DB, what is he supposed to be watching? Supposed to be watching your hips, right? He's not supposed to be looking at your feet. He's not even supposed to be looking at your eyes or your head. So you have to sell. You have to be almost loose and relaxed with your upper body while being sudden and twitchy with your lower body. So you see how Kadarius Toney comes off here. He's trying to work this DB off the platform to the outside, but I want you to see how much his hips and his shoulders move when he steps with this foot. Yes, we want to step quickly. Yes, we want to have sudden feet and shoot my foot into the ground, but my upper half is what sells the movement. If your upper half does not sell the movement and your hips and shoulders do not commit to the side of the cut that you were trying to sell, that DB is not going to move. So we need to make sure my hips and my shoulders, hips and shoulders are loose. You're almost thinking of it like your elbows, like you're trying to scrape your rib cage. Like you throw a cut with your right foot, you are ripping your left arm across your body, scraping your rib cage, because that will help you turn your body. And when you can turn your body as you cut with this foot, that can get that DB more likely to jump. Now, the mistake that guys will make is that they try to step super quick with their feet, but they don't move their body. They just move their head and their shoulders. So you'll see guys kind of like leaning out of there, almost like somebody's throwing a punch and they're trying to like bob and weave their head out of there. That's not what you want to do, because that's not what a DB is supposed to be looking at. An undisciplined DB, they call it eye discipline, right? A good eye discipline for a DB is watching our hips. But if he has bad eye discipline and he's looking our eyes, we could like literally just like look to the left. We don't even have to move my feet, and I'll probably still get him. So you need to understand, against disciplined DBs, you need to have suddenness with your feet like Kadarius Toney has. We need to force a reaction out of him. We need to be quick. We need to be violent. But I also need to make sure that my upper body is selling the movement. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great example here from Kadarius Toney on how to get separation off the line. That goes for top of the route too. You restack a guy, he's trailing your back hip, your feet want to be quick, but it can't just be the feet, fellas. It's got to be a combo of your feet and of your upper body. Okay, so we're going to look at another route here from Kadarius Toney. And when you guys want to make, shiftier cuts, you guys want to make DBs miss, especially at the top of the route when you have to snap down, you need to make sure you are violent with your snap down. So what does that exactly mean? What does the term violent mean? Like, that's usually not like football is a very violent game, but that's like, it's usually a term you hear on the news or something like that, right? So how does that apply to your route running? So you see when Kadarius Toney drops into this break here, he's bringing to the post, snaps it down, and then breaks back to the outside. So when he does this type of route, most important thing is that when you guys are running your routes downfield and you have to snap down, like you're running, and this is what allows you to get to that violent drop of your hips, which helps you change direction quicker. You have to make sure that we are running full speed. And now, like, full speed doesn't mean out of control full speed, because there's like two types of full speeds in my eyes. Like, there's like a controlled full speed, which is how you run routes. And then there's like an out of control on somebody's chasing me full speed, where I'm not going to change direction no matter what I do. We want a controlled full speed run. So you're running a comeback, you want to be going full speed all the way to that break point. You're running a curl, full speed all the way to that break point, a controlled full speed. Now, when we get to that break point, the only way, because you're running full speed now, to make a sharp cut is to be violent, right? The only way that Kadarius Toney could make this cut, because he has speed to this post, is by being aggressive with his hips. He shoots down. He drops that pad level low. He's almost sitting in a chair and bringing his chin to his knee. If you guys can get to that position where, like, you're running a comeback and it's like, okay, I'm sitting in a chair with my butt and I'm bringing my chin to my knee so I'm not leaning back, that can get you in and out of breaks very, very fast and help you put the brakes on quickly. That makes you a shiftier wide receiver and will make this guy miss. But you have to be able to put the brakes on a dime. And how you do that is you have the violent sit in the chair. You're sitting in a chair, but it is aggressive. You're dropping your chin to your knee, but it's aggressive. So many wide receivers will struggle with this. They will get to the top of the break. They'll be running a route, like, let's say it's like a comeback. I'll use that example again. They'll go all the way up to the comeback. They'll run full speed. Then at the comeback, they have a slow sink of their hips and a slow drop of their chin to their knee. That slow drop, that's not cutting on a dime. All that's going to cause you to do when you're running full speed is to drift on the route. To make that sharp cut, it's got to be violent. Somebody is pulling a string. I used to say the analogy a lot. Somebody's dropping an anchor out of a ship. Like, it's in the ocean. It drops an anchor and it just brings everything to a halt. That's how you want to think of your hips. It's a halt. dropping your butt down, sitting in a chair, chin to your knee, but it's violent. And then if you combine that with sudden feet, you combine that with, maybe selling with your upper half a little bit on like maybe another type of cut, like a rocker step cut or something like that, that's going to get you a lot of separation, fellas. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great example from Kadarius Toney showcasing how you want to drop your hips into a route, how you want to be violent to be able to cut on a dime, to be a shiftier wide receiver. All right, fellas, really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a full 8-week wide receiver gym and on-field workout schedule, check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.